Good morning, guys. This is the way I see things. You and myself are already the entrepreneurs of our mindset. If everything in the world, all human beings, we all have a thought space, think of the thought space in the world. It's all connected, it's all energy. So, if that's the case, if we understand that, then it is our responsibility every single day to live our life in whatever we do, whatever job we have, even if we're a student, whatever it is that we're doing, whatever thing that we do, it is our job to be entrepreneurs of creating our own mind space, our own thought space. And you have the ability to make it the most positive thought space possible. And that will affect everything around you. So think about that today. It's helped me so much. I hope it helps you. Have a great day, everybody.
Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Deep, long breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel that power of you controlling your breathing. That power that's available to you all the time, wherever you are in life. That power to reconnect to your greatest gift right now. Your presence, your being. Your infinitely intelligent being. The same stuff we're all made of. And with that stuff that we're made of, we can control the most powerful supercomputer in the universe. Your mind. But only you can do it. Only you can control your own mind. So let's do that right now, and let's see the future. Today, our time together, let's see ourselves doing the best we can on every single exercise and stretch. For this is not only the gym that we have available to us right now, in this space wherever we are, but it is also the gym of life, where we grow our minds all the time. Good morning, determination. How's everyone doing today? Another great day, wherever we are. Today for myself, I'm indoors. Maybe you yourself are indoors as well too. Wherever you are, let's go. Let's make this the best gym period we've ever had. It may not be exactly where we want to be. We may not be in school or at work where we really want to be, but wherever we are right now, let's do this to the best of our ability. Here we go, determination, here we go. When I say go, we're going to start jogging on the spot for 1 minute. Ready, and go. And as always, we're thinking about our breathing, focused on our breathing. Feeling that power of us always being able to control our breath. Even when our heart starts beating faster, whether it's through exercise, whether it's through something stressful, something maybe we might be afraid of or we don't like, we get to control our breathing. The same way we get to control our thoughts And our thoughts affect our feelings. So if we can control our thoughts, we can control our feelings. Almost there, everyone. Almost there. Keep going. Keep going. Determination. Keep going. And stop. All right. You can walk on the spot, or you can walk side to side as you recover your breathing. Always feeling that power of you controlling your breathing. This is the best. What we have right now, wherever you are, you've got your mind and your body in the gym of life. And you get to be your best right now on whatever stretches, exercises we're about to do together. Here we go. Here we go. Determination. That's why I love gym. Gym is the best. Grow your mind in the gym of life. Here we go. Let's do 10 shoulder rolls forward. Ready, everyone? Here we go. The best 10 shoulder rolls forward ever. Still controlling our breathing. Shoulders all the way up and around as high as we can towards our ears. And backwards. Again, feel the power of you controlling your body right now. In these simple movements, simple motions, you get to control your body. The way you control your mind, same way. Alright, and let's do arm circles forward, everyone. Arm circles forward, 10 big ones forward. Feeling the joy of our arms moving through space. Alright, and backwards. Excellent. Alright, everyone, let's put our hands on our hips, bend the knees, and side stretch. There we go. 5 on each side. Alright, and let's twist our bodies. Here we go. Feet flat on the floor. 5 on each side. Really thinking about what we're doing. Really trying to feel every part of our body as it's moving in space. Alright, good. Okay, let's do 5 push-ups together. Here we go. 5 push-ups. Best 5 push-ups. Again, if you got to keep your knees on the ground, that's okay. Just do your best, always. And 5 sit-ups. Excellent. And standing up. 5 squats. Here we go. Body straight ahead, looking straight ahead. All the way down. All the way up. Alright. Let's do 3 lunges on each side. Here we go. Arms out. Still controlling our breathing. Alright, and let's do 10-second plank. Belly's knees off the ground. Again, feeling the joy of you pushing your body a little bit outside its comfort zone. Because you know that's where the growth is. Alright, everyone, and standing up. Reach for the ceiling on your toes. Or the sky if you're outdoors. Today I happen to be indoors. If you are outdoors, reach for that sky. If you're indoors, reaching for that ceiling. We may not touch it yet, or ever, but we're going to reach, we're going to strive, just like we do in life, no matter what. Okay, now reach for your toes. Again, it's okay if you don't touch your toes, but keep your knees straight. Reaching for your toes, feeling the pull in the back of your leg, not the pain, just a little bit of a pull. All right, come on up and let's balance. Grab one leg, find that balance, bend the other knee. Well done, everyone. Keep going. Keep thinking about what you're doing right now. And switch. Again, feel the pull on the front of the thigh. Bend the other leg. Find that balance. If you lose it, just try to work hard to get it back and then hold it there. Excellent. All right, now let's hug our knee. Here we go, all the way up. And try to steady that other foot on the ground. Bend the knee if you have to and pull all the way up. Hold it for 10. Always working hard to find that balance. Where we balance our thoughts, our mind, balance our bodies, wherever we are in space. All right, and switch. Just always think of safety too. Make sure you have enough space, clearance around you, in case you do lose your balance. Hold it there. Well done. Okay, good. Hey.
Much better teams than them would struggle against Barcelona in this form. Here's Messi, easily past the challenge. Messi, brilliant!
Such a fine run again from Henry, squares it back, and there's goal number 2.
Henry, Messi, Ronaldinho, Messi. Wonderful. The tantalising trident does it again.
We're looking at a reset of the world. I don't have any problem with a central bank digital currency. It's the thinking underlying it, if it's done from a place of benevolence. And the weaponization of currency is a lot of what's driving this change. What we're seeing is it is one solution to keeping the dollar relevant at the end of its natural life cycle. In a very real way, we are in the midst of a global monetary reset, a currency reset. People ask me about how I feel about the future. I'm an optimist. I'm also a realist. I mean, realistically, I think we're in for some bumpy rides.
What's on your mind?
John, traveling these last, it's been probably 10 days. I've been on the road, seen a lot of people, airports, hotels, at the conferences. And, there's a perception that so much of what we talk about is kind of esoteric, kind of theoretical. I want to talk about something very concrete, very real that affects everyone's life today in a very real way. We are in the midst of a global monetary reset, a currency reset. And that means different things to different people. It's historic, and nobody's going to come out and tell us. I don't think you're going to see a flash on CNN. Hey, there's a monetary reset going on. There's some people that mention it every once in a while, but there's a lot of confusion about what it means. A reset doesn't mean a crash necessarily. It doesn't have to be a crash. And we've had resets in our lifetime. We had 1913 and was when the Federal Reserve was established. That was a currency reset. 1944, Bretton Woods established the dollar supremacy the way we have today as a global reserve currency. 1971, we went off the gold standard. That changed everything. 1985? Yeah, 1985, we had the Paris Accords. And what's happening now is actually called the Mar-a-Lago Accords. A lot of people are pushing back on that, but that is how history is going to know what's going on. And it's fascinating to me. One of the principles, and here's how you know something is actually happening. Gold is on the move on the planet. Gold is moving into nations. It's moving into central banks. They're buying it up like crazy. And I just had some numbers here. What was it? 600 tons in the first 2 months of this year came into the US. That's unheard of. I mean, it's crazy what's going on. So people are saying, what in the world is going on? Well, one of the things that is, I think, is driving this is that we have, there are meetings in Basel, Switzerland that give direction and guidelines to the central banks throughout the world. And right now, our monetary system is based on what those central banks are doing. And they've always valued gold. This is really interesting, John. And I've always been fascinated. I don't know the reason for it, but they've always valued gold as a tier 3 asset, which means they value it as a risky asset, which means banks don't have to have a lot of it on their balance sheets. You don't see a lot of it in hedge fund portfolios unless people ask for it. And here's the mind blower. The official price of gold on the balance sheet of the United States of America was set in 1944, $42.50 an ounce. And that is the official price, even though the spot price right now is somewhere between $3,000, $3,500 an ounce, something like that. This summer, the designation for gold will move from a tier 3 asset to a tier 1 asset. And what that means is that the banks must have it on their balance. They've got it. They've got to have at least 50% more on their balance sheets. And what that means is that the debt of the United States of America changes because we've got a lot of gold in our treasury valued at $42.50. If it now is valued at spot price, say between $3,000 and $4,000 an ounce, or perhaps even more, that offsets a lot of our debt. Our balance sheet becomes a lot healthier. And the economy of the world reflects that in a positive way. Now, our friend Penny Kelly said that she sees the stock market taking a hit. And when we go back and we look at these previous monetary resets, that's what happens. Anything denominated in the dollars, they want the dollar weaker because they can't sell U.S. goods overseas because the dollar is so strong. So all these tariffs and everything, they're actually driving the value of the dollar down so that we can compete in a fair way overseas. Anything in dollar-denominated assets in the past takes a hit for that when this happens, and the hard assets, commodities, things like food and metals, energy, water stocks, things like that. They are the ones that really benefit from something like this. So we're in the midst of a historic time for a lot of reasons. And what I'm finding is, John, our community tends to be unplugged from things like this. They tend to shy away. A lot of them tend to shy away from, because it sounds complex. And it's not just about economies, it's about finance, and it can sound complex. But I think personally, I think it can be a good thing. I think we're looking at a reset of the world, and it needs to begin with something that is going to influence and affect everyone's life. And certainly money and finance and currency does just that. So I'm not an expert in this, can't give any financial advice, but I want people to know this is not business as usual. We're witnessing something historic, and it's not going to play out over the next 50 years. I mean, we're talking the next few months. Next couple of years, we're going to see this happen. And I'm wondering if you have any feelings about that, John. Are you seeing the same thing?
Well, I'm wondering if you're talking about the kind of reset or the RV, they call it, about that, where there's some select currencies that are going to be revalued kind of to generate parity across the planet that will kind of set the stage for being able to then do some kind of a shift. What they talk about is to a digital currency, the central bank digital currencies in particular. Is that kind of part of what you're talking about?
I think it is, John. They're all pieces of the same movement. And I think one of the things that encourages me, people ask me about how I feel about the future. I'm an optimist. I'm also a realist. I mean, realistically, I think we're in for some bumpy rides. Optimistically, this kind of thing can only happen when the leaders of nations work together. And what it tells me is that on some level, there is a level of cooperation, a degree of cooperation that we're not, we're being led to believe that America hates Russia and China and America are, doing this. But these are humans. They have families. They are, in this case, three men who have witnessed the horrors and the suffering of the 20th century and know how quickly we can descend into that again. And they don't want that. It's not good for anyone. So, on the one hand, they are looking out for their own nations. Of course, that's their job. And within that framework, they're looking for ways I think, create a greater degree of cooperation. Central bank digital currency, we've had big conversations about this. Realistically, I don't think we are going to stop it. What that is the digitization, the tokenization of the currency that we hold in our hands, that we carry in our wallets today. And I have to say, John, as a scientist, the technology is never right, wrong, good, or bad. Inherently, I don't have any problem with a central bank digital currency. It's the thinking underlying it. If it's done from a place of benevolence, which says, this is going to be a better way, to for the financial system of the world, it could be a very good thing because we essentially do it anyway. I just was on a business trip. Everything was done on, digitally on the from a bottle of water in the airport to the meals to, I mean, everything is. Where we get into problems is the misuse or the abuse of this. And this is where we have to have guidelines. We've got to make sure that our money, if every dollar we have is tokenized, that it cannot be weaponized to be used against us. And there are ways to do that. There are ways.
Good morning, guys. Today, Jack Ma shares with us in his top 10 rules for success the idea that of trust. Trust is the most important thing. It is the glue of life, as Stephen Covey has said. Jack Ma says that we have to build trust. When he gives the example, when he started e-commerce in China, people viewed it as something that would be impossible to build trust. People always believed in face-to-face communication, person to person. So people didn't trust in the system, but Jack Ma was persistent, and his motto is build trust. And so even though his company, they don't see people, they don't meet people, they are focused on having that trust, and it is possible. Think about us right now interacting. You giving me your attention, I'm trying to help you. We are building trust with each other. So build trust. It is the most important thing in life. Have a great day, everybody.
And let's sit down, everybody. And reaching for our toes, straight knees again. Reaching is what matters. If you don't get to your toes, that's okay as long as you're reaching. Feeling the pull on the back of your legs. Not the pain, just a little bit of a pull. Okay, V shape with your legs. Now reach for the floor as far away from your body as you can. Hold it there for 10 seconds. Okay, now reach for one side and hold it there again. Always thinking about the moment, thinking about what we're doing right now. Experiencing the joy of being able to reach for something to help our bodies get better. And switch the other side. See, you can do this almost anytime, any place. You can work on your mind and your body wherever you go in life, in everything you do, not just in exercise and stretches. All right, here we go. And let's do feet together. Gently push your knees down with your elbows and hold it there for 10 seconds. If you feel your breathing going on autopilot or becoming automatic again, take control of that. Deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Good. One leg forward, one leg back. Keep the knee on the ground, go as far back as you can. Hold it there. 10 seconds. And switch to the other side. Knee on the ground, go as far back as you can. Always remembering that you are the boss of your mind, and your mind is the boss of your body. That makes you the big boss. You get to control yourself. You get to use your determination no matter what. All right. And let's roll onto our bellies and push the floor. Looking up at the ceiling. Cobra stretch. Here we go. Hold it for 10 seconds. Feeling that nice stretch in our lower back, neck, back of our arms. All right, and legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Taking deep, long breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now, activating that third eye, that mind's eye that we all have. We can't see it, but we know it's there. So use your mind's eye right now to see yourself doing the best you can today when that music goes on whatever 2 exercises, stretches you've chosen to do. For me, today I'm going to be holding the push-up position for one song, the first song, and then I'm going to be holding the squat position for the second song, as long as I can. And if I happen to let go or not be able to hold it, I'm going to continue on until that song's over. What about you? You can put on your own 2 songs today, and you can do your own exercises. But think about which exercises you're going to do right now, safely within the space you have. You can do what I'm doing. You can listen to what I'm listening to, or you can choose your own. But whatever you do, determine right now, see in your mind what you will do when that music goes on. All right, determination, here I go, holding the push-up position, and let's go, whatever you're doing, whatever you've decided, let's see it, let's see your best, here we go together, let's go, determination, let's go. Looking forward to being better than we were last time, a little bit more than last time. See if I can hold it for the whole song, let's see. Wasn't able to do it last time we did this together. Or the last time I did it on my own, but I'm going to work at it right now. Because I love the process of trying to get better at something. Whether it's building strength in my body, building strength in my mind, working on creating nothing but positive images, thoughts, visions in my mind, working on being the best human being I can be. What about you? What is it for you? Whatever it is, just enjoy the process of learning, growing together, whatever we're doing. And sometimes we're going to feel that discomfort. Like right now, I can already feel my muscles already uncomfortable. But then I can feel my determination saying, I get to determine whether I'm going to stop or keep going, no matter what. You too, let's go, determination, let's go. All right. Thank get through the whole song, but I'm gonna get right back at it again. Song's not over. We gotta keep going. There we go. Shaking it up. Not being that we didn't get to where we want to be yet, but feeling happy that we get to go at it again. Here we go. Always thinking about our breathing. Always thinking about finishing strong, no matter what. Always going right to the end, finishing what we set out to do, no matter what. All right. Got more in me. I know I got a little bit more. We gotta keep going. You too, whatever you're doing, keep going. Determination, keep going. Let's go. It's not over yet. The song's still playing. Focus on that breathing. Good air in. Bad air out. Here we go. Another round. Oh, I love it. I love the process of building our true great self through exercising our bodies and our minds together. Oh, that's the next song. All right. Time for some squats. Hold it.
Vamos a ver lo que hace el TBC ahí ante Cichero. Tiene que jugar atrás. Messi. Messi que dispara. ¡Gol!
Con la pierna izquierda llama Messi. ¡Gol!
Is to do that. So I think we're in a digital age. All of our photographs are digital. All of our music is digital. All of our movies. I mean, everything is digital, and it makes sense that money would be too, because so much of it is already. I think we really have to monitor the thinking underlying, and that is happening. We have representatives. We have nations that have said they won't participate if this is abusive. We have senators and Congress people, men and women, on the Senate floor and the congressional floor that are prohibiting this if it's going to be abused in any way. They not to be tracked and weaponized against people. And the weaponization of currency is a lot of what's driving this change, because America, after World War II, America talked the world into trusting us and trusting the dollar, and the world accepted that and bought into our financial system. And then when nations do things that are counter in the past under some administrations, when they do things that are counter to our interest, we turn that trust against them. We violate that trust. We weaponize the dollar with sanctions against Russia as a perfect example. And so the response to that is, well, we're going to build our own currency. So now we have BRICS. We've got, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and a whole bunch of other nations now are building their own economic bloc, and it is backed in gold. And what that means is that it is a more solid currency. It cannot expand and inflate, because every unit that's spent has an ounce of gold backing it. Right now, we don't have that. And the proposals are that we have some basket of currencies that are going to be used, not exclusively the dollar, probably the dollar and the yuan and the ruble, I'm sure, are going to be part of that. And even digital, Bitcoin is part of that now. And there is a Bitcoin reserve that the United States Treasury is building right now. Interestingly, they're not buying it. It's based on Bitcoin that has been confiscated through illegal actions, and they're allowing that to serve the country. So I don't think we're going to stop this. And I don't know that we would necessarily want to, but I think we definitely have a responsibility to guide how it's done and to make sure that the digitization of currency cannot be weaponized against the citizens of a country, as we saw happen in Canada. We saw that during the
Yeah,
truckers'
certainly.
protest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
certainly. Yeah.
So I think it is one and the same, John, of what you're seeing. And again, I mean, the money is the money, but for that to happen behind the scenes, there has to be a level of communication. There has to be a level of cooperation. That means there has to be some level of trust. And we have to remember that the leaders of the nations of the world happen to be the leaders that were around during the roughest parts of the 20th century, and they're shifting their mindset from this polarized world of superpowers and using force as the deterrent. That was the big thing during the Cold War. And they recognize that we're moving into a new world, and we're witnessing a change in the thinking of our leaders that's not always portrayed accurately in the mainstream media. They're demonized often to sway our opinion so that we'll support actions against China or
Yeah.
against Russia or something like that. So,
Well, the system needs an enemy, and particularly the intelligence community, and certainly the defense community, and so they really are have a vested kind of interest in trying to keep the game going, and they try to do that in every way possible, including manipulating and controlling most of the press.
well, they do. And the reason, the other piece that's driving this is the dollar. The dollar is on its way out, and it has to be. It is what's called a fiat currency. And a typical lifespan of a fiat currency is about 50 years because what happens, fiat means that the definition is it is by agreement that we trust this. There's nothing backing every one of our dollars except the faith and trust is the way it's termed in the American government. We don't have an ounce of gold or platinum or anything else, rhodium or whatever it could be, backing our dollars. So when we get into trouble, which we all have seen in our lifetimes, what we do is we just throw more of those dollars into the system and dilute the purchasing power of every dollar that exists. Well, now we've lost over 98% of the purchasing power of the dollar. If you look at the chart from 1913, when the dollar was established, and 44 in Bretton Woods, it looks like a really bad year on the stock market. I mean, it's just a downwards slant. We have about 2% of the purchasing power that we had when the dollar was created because of this fiat and because we are inflating it. And they know that unless something happens, the dollar will go into what's called hyperinflation. And we've seen this. Germany did it in World War II. I think Venezuela, have seen this, and well, it's happening right now, actually, in Venezuela. So that's part of why now? Why is it happening now? Because if the dollar fails, that is going to hurt the whole world. That hurts the world. But John,
Yeah, but it is like, go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, it is inevitable. I mean, everything works on cycles, and countries and empires and whatever it is, popular music stars, whatever, they all work on cycles, and they rise and they fall. There's nothing that's consistent and that stays on forever except change and so it's really, there are a lot of people who would desperately not like anything to change, and particularly in terms of things like money and so on, where you've got so much value and it influences your life so pervasively. But nevertheless, everything changes. You know quite well that we're here at the Arlington Institute. Our interest is not to try to sustain the present or to rebuild the past or to I don't believe that it is sustainable, and so we need to get on the path of trying to build a new world and try to do, design the next kind of stage of human development and social and economic and all the other kinds of aspects of our life, and redesign those systems in a new way.
Yeah, I agree, John. I think they want to keep the system going. And I think what we're seeing is it is one solution to keeping the dollar relevant at the end of its natural life cycle. It should expire. It should be expiring, and now they want to extend that. I don't think the new monetary system that we're going to, I don't think that's sustainable. I think it's a stepping stone that will be more equitable. It can be if it's done with good intent. The technology is there to be more equitable, to make the trade between nations more viable, and also to bring a lot of the manufacturing back into each individual country, so that we're not so reliant upon one another.
Yeah.
Supply chains break, and they're fragile, and we're in trouble. We all need to be able to produce our own goods and services and information. So I
Good morning, guys. I want to share with you a funny story. It happened yesterday. I'm not sure if any of you know, but I work with students every single day, and we work on the power of our minds and how it connects to our health and physical education program. So yesterday with kindergarten students, we were working on that, and there was a part where I was so proud of them. They were all so focused. They were using the power of their minds to control their bodies, and it was incredible. So I said to them, guys, I could feel the energy in this room. Feel the difference when all our minds are working together. And you could see them. They were into the zone. And what happens, of course, with that intense, amazing energy where these young 4 to 5 year olds are so focused, a kid starts hiccuping. And it was so funny. I wanted to laugh. Of course, I couldn't. But inside, I was laughing. I thought I'd share with you. Here we were building infinite mind wealth together. And then the uncontrollable happens. So you gotta laugh sometimes. Have a great day, everybody.
In the squat position. What about you? What are you gonna do next? Let's go, determination. Here we go. Ready? All right. If you're doing what I'm doing, just try to keep your feet flat on the floor, looking straight ahead, going as far down as you can, your bottom towards the ground, and holding it there. As long as you can, until that music's done. Because our music, you know the truth, our music's never done. Our energy, our determination is built to last, to get through anything. Let's go, determination, let's go. If you're sweating, that's good. Feel your body releasing some of that fluid, some of that old fluid, and water. Make sure you drink lots of water when we're done. Make sure you always fill your body with good food. All right.
Low centre of gravity again. Just drifts past players, doesn't he?
They've taken it quickly, and Messi's on the charge! Oh, what a fabulous goal!
Bueno, pues el propio Messi, el que tiene la posibilidad de transformar la pena máxima, gol.
Steps up, hits it, and into the back of the net. Barcelona 2-1 up.
I don't think it's the answer. I think it is a solution in the short term. Short term, maybe a generation,
Right.
a stepping stone to carry us over, because what we have now is collapsing, and they have to do something. My dream, John, and I've actually had this dream in my sleep, where leaders of the world come together in a room, and they leave all the armies outside on the other side of the door, and all the technology on the other side of the door, and all their security, and they just sit down and they loosen their ties, and they look at one another in the eyes, and they talk about their children and their grandchildren, and ask the question, what can we do? How much good
Right.
can we do in the world in our lifetime for our families and the next generations? And if that question were answered, what a very, very different world we would be living in right now. And I think we'll see it at some point. I think we'll see it at some point, but we've got to get past the thinking that is bleeding over from the hurt
Well,
of
it's
the
not
20th
only the
century.
thinking, it's the incentives and the structures and the other and the influences that
Yeah,
are actively trying to shape this whole space, and that those are physical and probably non-physical. There are
yeah,
it's just it's not a kind of simple, obvious kind of situation. Most of the pundits and the press and other kinds of things deal with these things in very kind of simplistic kind of terms, uh, and are oblivious
yeah.
to the far to the multi-level kind of complexity that drives it all, and all of that is changing, as you suggest, I believe,
Sure.
and including the non-physical kind of aspects of it, is that everything's kind of there's this kind of window, if you will, this cosmic window where it for any of a number of reasons kind of allows for this rehash, for this redo of the whole system. And some of us think that's the reason why we're here, and that we're in the business of trying to influence and help build this new world. And you can only do that when the system starts to come apart, and all of the solidity and the integrity, which fights against change, breaks up and allows you to redo the thing in a new way.
Yeah, well, that new world, John, it's based on cooperation and what biologists call mutual aid rather than competition and
Right.
scarcity. Very, very different ways of thinking. And the structures you're talking, NATO is one example, a perfect example that's up for the world right now. NATO exists because of the assumption of an enemy. And if that enemy doesn't exist, NATO has a hard time justifying its
Right.
own existence and the expenditures. And you're seeing those conversations now and the push for conflict, not just in Europe, but in certainly in the Middle East right now is a hot box right now. So, we're living it, John. And when you're in it, sometimes it's hard to see it. But if we zoomed out and we looked in history back to this little window of time, man, our heads would spin. You'd say, look at the change that happened in
Yeah.
just a few, in a single generation. We're going through structural change, social engineering, and psychological changes
Yeah.
in one lifetime that often take generations to accomplish. And we're doing it within a single life. And I think we're doing a reasonably good job in a single lifetime. And I think conversations like this help because they help to give a name and to put meaning and a face on some of these nebulous things that we see happening in the world. And that's why I appreciate you, John, and Arlington
But
Institute, and certainly the Transitions Talks as an opportunity, a vehicle and a
yeah,
platform to be able to share these ideas.
I appreciate that. That the thing that's really necessary in the middle of all of this uncertainty and chaos and change is hope, because what you're being extracted from, unplugged from, untethered from, is essentially all of the things that gave you stability in the past at all these different levels, economics and social and even psychological. And so what has to happen is to come together a new set of ideas that essentially allow one to not only one but lots of people to see that there's a path toward this new world, and that it's starting to form, and that it's not all just coming apart, and it's not all just chaotic like it's that they're trying to make it seem. And that's why I agree that these conversations are so important, is because they start to frame in an intelligent way the kind of options and the possibilities associated with all of this, and start to give us a new framework from which to start to think about where this is all going and how hopeful it could be.
Well, in an ideal world, we would have leaders that had the insight to recognize the kinds of things we're talking about, and they would preempt the suffering. They would come together and say, look, it's obvious that what we've been doing is collapsing. What can we do? How can we make this a better world? And maybe they're doing that to some degree. But what it looks to me, what they're trying to do is to keep the world chugging along and then fix each piece as it breaks. It's kind of like having an old car with 300,000 miles. I had a Buick that had 300,000 miles on it, and it needed a lot of work. I didn't have the money to fix the whole thing, so I would just fix it each piece as it broke and just keep it going. And it's kind of what I think they're doing right now. But at some point, John, everything is so interconnected, and the momentum of change is so great that it's hard to tell where one break ends and another one begins. The whole system just goes into free fall. And
the existing system, and again, so what we got to do is kind of build a new one, and the situation is ripe for that. It's just perfect because you've got the internet and all of that, and even AI, and it's an extraordinary kind of potential. And if you can repurpose that and point it in not toward just building weapons and dysfunctional kind of things and elimination of privacy and invasion of your life and all of, but if you can point it in this new direction, then you at warp speed almost you can move toward building a new world. And again, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to wait for the day that things stop working to ask the question, what's next? It's good to have a parallel system already in place, be working the bugs out of that system that can kind of seamlessly, in an ideal world, seamlessly kick in, and that's the safety net. And I also recognize, John, there are a lot of people I run into that don't think this way at all, and they're not wired to think this way, but they appreciate those people that do. And so in that way, we work together. They're focusing on other things like children and families and just keeping their small communities, local communities running, keeping the restaurants open and the shoe repair places open. And we need those
has
people
to drive the cab. Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. So in that way, we really are. We're a global team. We work together. And because I had people say to me, I'm not doing anything big like you are, Greg. I'm just doing this. And I said, whoa, we're all working together on this. And what I'm doing in the relative scheme of things isn't that big at all. I mean, I'm not on a global stage really, but the idea that we all are participating and we all have a role, and I think that's really important for people to know.
Really, really, and in terms that we don't understand, frankly. Exactly. I mean, and there's stuff going on. That could be the discussion of another session here. But there's relationships and things. There are people who are very convincing in suggesting that whatever anybody does, that affects the whole universe. Well, I can kind of build that, mental. I can understand what those words mean, but it's hard at this point in our development to translate that into literal how that all works. Well, there's a lot of things we don't know how they work, and yet they do, and so we're getting into that space in a hurry. Well, thanks.
Well,
Thanks again for another interesting conversation.
And here we are again. Back to where it all begins. Where it all begins and never ends. That source, that oneness, that consciousness, that awareness. That we know is in all of us. That power to determine, to control our minds. You see, nobody else, nothing else in this universe can do what you do every day. In the gym of life. Only you, human being, only you, infinitely intelligent being, can do the ultimate. Only you can control your mind, your thoughts, and therefore your feelings. But it takes a lot of hard work. It takes, first of all, believing that you can do it. If you don't believe in yourself, your mind health, your chance at mind wealth is not possible. But that's not the way it was meant to be. You were born to win. Control over your mind, your thoughts. To have and be all you were meant to be.